There are three laws really that we follow in what I'm going to call the New Age realm. And I always chuckle at our lingo, you know, Americans like, oh, yeah, New Age. Well, yeah, these laws and this science, I mean, yeah, NLP is relatively new, which is a very deep mainstay to my toolbox. But some of the higher energy principles, you know, whether they're biblical, whether they're Christian, whether they're New Age, whether they're quantum physics, whether they're traditional in the 20th century, a Zig Ziglar, a Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, they all match. You'll hear that under a tool called, you know, the various schools of thought. And I try to honor them. I teach in most of them. So if you have a question in them, I always love to hear from your point of view because some people get turned off by kind of new age stuff. Um, but as full disclosure, it is somewhat important to me. I do follow New Age. I do follow quantum physics. Um, so it's really exciting for me to be able to talk in these realms. So there's a couple of crucial notes, you know. One, do you believe that these are laws? They are not principles. And the reason why we call them laws, as I always joke, the law of gravity is a law because occasionally there's not someone that floats off the planet. It applies to all. There are no exceptions to it. We may not always know about it, and one of the reasons why I even love using gravity, if you know and understand our current physical world, we do not understand. We know the effects of gravity. We can measure gravity. We don't know what it is. We don't know why it works. We can't explain it. And that's always kind of funny for some people because they go, well, wait a second. We know what gravity is. It's a couple of, you know, bodies that are attracting one another. Well, yeah, there's an attraction we can measure, but we don't know what the attraction is or why it's taking place. But laws in this psychological realm of success, you have to understand. As I've said, they're not principles, they're laws. Principles apply to most, have a broader generality. You'll hear me talk about things as having exceptions or virtual or 90-10 rule, but when I talk about laws, I mean all, and there are no exceptions to this. Now, if you are a mismatcher and you're watching this tonight or watching the video of this, you will look for something, and if you can find a mismatch, you'll not believe in any aspect of the law. Just understand something that does not serve you. You need to match and find what does serve you. Find what value in these laws there are, and at the end of the day, if you get value tonight and you call them principles, I'm fine with that. As long as you are growing, as long as you are challenging your point of view and finding something of value in these calls, I think that's really exciting. Now, when you study the most successful people, they believe in these laws, or at least they act in accordance with the laws. They may not always say the law of attraction, but again, you know, you may not understand gravity and it still works for you. So people, they may say, oh, that's New Agey, I'm not that. That's fine. Again, all the schools of thought, in essence, say the same thing. And when we study the three laws I'm going to cover tonight, the power increases exponentially in the ascension of these three laws, in part, great part, because the third one is the hardest for us to use and follow. And you've never heard it before, you'll have a lot of fun with it. Now, in these three laws, and I think Esther Hicks does the best job. There's certainly any number of other authors that talk about them. But if you want more information, just send me an email and say, I want to know more about Esther Hicks, and tell me where I can read some more information about it. But I do like her the best, although even in the right off the bat, the first law is the law of attraction. Hers is act, believe, receive. You know, as I said, this is my mismatch and match. I do not believe that it is act, believe, and receive. Uh, you know, and that's one of 9 things that I find, you know, grossly that well, I'll call it wrong. Wrong is a relative term, but yeah, it doesn't serve you the way the movie The Secret portrays the law of attraction as act, believe, receive. I believe, as Jack Canfield does, that it's not receive, it's take inspired action that is congruent with what you're acting and believing. Oh, act. I'm sorry. I knew there was something wrong here. This is ask. There was a boy. Come on, Brian. You're supposed to help me here, man. You got to proof me a little bit. Ask, believe, receive. Ask is the first step of the law of attraction. Believe, inspired action. So we've spent a lot of time in TIY on any number of calls. In The Inevitable Leader, we talk a lot about the law of attraction. Again, whether you buy part of it, complete believer, scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. If you want to have some more questions tonight, that's fine. But the second law, moving right along, is called the science of deliberate creation. Now, I do not use virtually anything that Esther teaches here, in part because I think what goes into neuro-linguistic programming, and in essence what I have embedded in the Inevitable You toolbox, that there is a science of how you use the law of attraction. You know, that can be things like the formula. I'll teach that. That's comes right out of heart math, you know, and how we can, from an engineering perspective, logically, rationally understand a very intangible, irrational arena of emotions. There is a science that deliberately allows you to enact the law of attraction. Again, I won't spend much time there tonight, but again, a great body of work exists there if you've not studied it or focused on it. The third, and by far the hardest to do, and in essence then becomes the most powerful, because when you can use this law, you are going to be incredibly powerful. The art of allowing has 2 crucial parts to it. Number 1, there is no shortage of system energy or resources or interactions. There's nothing within the system that ever validates the first 2 laws. Now, what that means, for example, is if in your law of attraction you are resourceful and you want abundance, it's not like the system goes, oh, sorry, Bill, we run out of abundance. We need to put you on hold until we get you more abundance. The first 2 laws always work. Now, and now we can get into some real interesting stuff in how you request. If I want the winning lottery ticket, well, now there is 1 ticket and millions, billions want it. You know, yeah, no, that is not following the law, because the law doesn't tell you to ask for the winning lottery ticket. It says ask for unlimited abundance, and then the system, the energy, will resource itself in how it brings it to you, whether it's in a great idea, a patentable idea, a most unbelievable business deal, a series of good fortune and good luck. As long as you're asking and you are not unasking, which again is a huge part of the system, you cannot unask. And now we're going to get to the place where most people, in part, tend to unask. But part 1 is there is no shortage of anything in the system that makes the first 2 laws not come true. Now, to the extent that you pay attention to someone else's first 2 laws, they become yours. So if you're paying attention to terrorists and they're promoting terror, or you're paying attention to what you feel to be a bad economy, or you're paying attention to your teenager, or you're paying attention to a spouse, and now you're starting to see, well, crap, this can be hard because your spouse, if they are about scarcity or they are in pain, you're like, oh my God, I don't want pain for my spouse. But the minute you say no pain, you are now attracting pain. And it is very, very hard to attract joy when your spouse is attracting pain, or your colleague at work, or your boss, or someone else. But again, that's why this becomes an incredibly powerful law. To the extent that you pay attention, it becomes yours. Then don't pay attention. Only give attention to what you want. And so now this is where these laws become very powerful, because how can I be happy when, people I love are sad? How can I be happy when the planet is going through a depression and wars? And how can I be happy when there is so much not happy on the planet? Well, as long as you stay focused, you're your attraction. So you have to write equations and write rules. Excuse me here. I need to sneeze. Excuse me. Ow, that one hurt. Yeah, much less got snot on my chair. Holy smokes. You have to write equations that allow for you to be happy while others get their law of attraction. So, you love your child's karma and the pain that they're in. We have the butterfly cocoon tool is a great tool for, parents who struggle with their children's pain. We have other laws and rules that allow you to be an inspired EQ leader, so that when people that are important and crucial to you are going downhill, you get to keep and gain more joy while they gain the lessons they need to learn, and hopefully through your inspired leadership can catch up. To the extent that you pay attention to their attractions, they become yours. Very, very, very powerful law. Hardest to do. When you do it, this is where the biggest unasks take place, because you're asking for abundance, and someone you love, you care about, your boss, your company, the market, they're asking for shitstorms. And you can make hay and love and joy in the middle of the shitstorm if you are powerful enough to do that and want that and ask that.